Act 1. So the medications I take is quite a bit actually. I take 3 milligrams of Progesterone, which is my estrogen that I take. My body doesn't naturally produce hormones, so that's the way that my body gets its necessary dose of hormones to help things like bone density and other things that estrogen would normally take care of. I also take a progesterone tablet for 14 days within a month. What this does is it gives me my monthly cycles, my periods. Without that, again, because I don't have natural hormones, nothing would do that. It wouldn't work. So I have to take that for 14 days. And I also have hypertension, so high blood pressure. So I'm on blood pressure medication to keep that stable and to keep a check on it. So I take that every day as well. So I also take various amounts of vitamins and minerals and stuff just to help things. I have eczema, so I take antihistamine to help control itching and stuff like that. I also have IBS, so I take a peppermint capsule for that, which should help my IBS, help it not be so severe. So yeah, I currently take about 9 tablets in an evening every day, so it can get quite a bit, but yeah, it's what's needed, so I take it. What I have noticed and what I have found is that it takes a while to find the right level, the right dose and the right medication for you. Everyone's different and there's so many different varieties out there. So what I would say is if you don't feel that you're on the right one, change it. And hopefully that will help and you will eventually find the one that works for you and works best for you. It took me quite a while to find the one that agreed with me and where I didn't get any side effects and everything like that. So yeah, that's my medication. Act 2. So having Turner's, I didn't really realise I had Turner's until I was 25 years old, which you might think is a bit strange. I had Turner's, it'd always been a part of me, and actually I was diagnosed at a much younger age, at like 6 weeks old. I was diagnosed with gonadal dysgenesis. My version of Turner's is actually quite rare because I have the Y chromosome added in, so I have the mosaic version of Turner syndrome. Now, growing up, I didn't really know any difference. I just thought that I was shorter than everyone else, and that I was probably, well, for myself, and this was just personally, I was into sports and other things. So yeah, for me, I didn't really notice a difference. It was only as I've gotten older and as I found out the diagnosis of Turner syndrome that I've actually embraced that side of me. I now know all the reasons why I go to the hospital every year and all the reasons why I have the tests that I do. So I have ECGs to check on the heart, the blood test that I have every year that checks like kidney function, thyroid, as well as making sure I have all the vitamins and minerals that I should have, that my body probably doesn't naturally produce. And I also have bone density scans to check that my bones are okay and that I don't get osteoporosis. So as I've gotten older, I've become more aware of the complications of Turner syndrome, but also the rationale of why I'm having tests and what those tests mean. So yeah, that's my rationale for Turner syndrome. One of the things that they did mention, obviously, and I did know this from growing up, was that I wasn't going to be able to have children naturally. Again, because of my mosaicism, my ovaries didn't form. In fact, I had gonads that were fibrous tissue. So I had those removed at 6 weeks and then at 9 months. And I have 2 very visible scars. So that was something that was never kept from me. I always knew that I was never going to have naturally my own children. But I think it never really bothered me when I was younger. I think it's only as I've gotten older that it started to go, okay, now if I want to have children, what does that mean? What are the options? How can I do this? How can I have a family? and how can I be like everyone else? And what I'll say is that there are options out there, and I have recently started talking to the hospital about options for fertility, and through the Turner Syndrome Support Society and some of the talks that they had at their conference where they talked about fertility, and they were very open. And you heard stories from other women, other individuals who have gone through the different various options like IVF or adoption, or there's so much out there. All I'd say is research it. One of the things I also had was part of my Turner's was non-verbal learning disorder. Now, it hasn't been fully diagnosed, but looking at the symptoms, that kind of makes sense. When I was younger, I didn't do well at exams. My short-term memory is absolutely shocking. I can't remember hardly anything. My partner would tell you that. And not only short-term memory, but spatial awareness. Even as I'm getting older, that's getting worse. I'll just walk into things. Bit clumsy. So things like that can affect, but again, that doesn't affect everyone with Turner syndrome. So yeah, it'll affect a few, but not everyone. Act 3. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't know that I had Turner syndrome until I was 25 years old, which was quite a long time to not know. It left me feeling isolated. It left me feeling not knowing who I was. And it was a hard time. I had to relearn who I am and what that meant and what Turner syndrome meant for me. What I would say, especially to medical professionals in paediatrics, is make sure that the patient knows that they have Turner syndrome. Don't just assume that the parents have told them or that they do know. Make sure that they know. They need to have informed consent about who they are, what's happened to them, and why. But once I did know, the hospital and my consultant was fantastic. Sat me down, taught me through everything, pointed me in a direction of the Turner Syndrome Support Society here in the UK. And they're a fantastic organisation. They have so much literature on Turner syndrome around the condition itself for individuals with Turner syndrome, but they also do a lot of stuff for employers, for parents, for partners, and for teachers. Like, there's so much information that they provide. It's incredible. They provide a lot of support for individuals and their families with Turner syndrome. They held the yearly annual conference, which I have been to, and it's a really good conference. I found it the time I did go, it was a few years ago. I found it quite overwhelming because I'd never met anyone with Turner syndrome, and I felt all of a sudden that actually it's okay. I'm not on my own. That there are other individuals here, and I've made some good friends from it. And I think it's so crucial to have that support, to not feel isolated and alone. And I think that's the strength of the Turner Syndrome Support Society. So please check it out. Their website, Google them, and definitely get in touch with them.